Let's be real for a second. Personal finance can feel like a total maze, right? All this jargon, all this conflicting advice. Sometimes it feels like it's designed to be confusing. But what if there was a simple, clear path through all that noise? Well, today, we're going to look at a guide that promises to do exactly that. You ever get that feeling that you're just guessing with your money? You hear terms like 401k or asset allocation, and your brain just kind of goes fuzzy and shuts down. If you've ever felt that wave of financial overwhelm, you are definitely not alone. But the good news is there's a really straightforward way out. So, the solution we're diving into today is basically a streamlined roadmap, something to take you from that feeling of financial chaos to a place of real confidence. And it all comes from the book Management Essentials for Dummies, which is, you guessed it, built for total clarity. Okay, so the guy behind this is Eric Tyson, and he frames the whole book as a financial crash course. Now, this isn't about turning you into a Wall Street expert overnight, not at all. It's about giving beginners the absolute essential tools they need to build a really solid foundation. So what does a crash course really mean in this case? It means the book just cuts straight through all the noise. It doesn't bog you down with, super advanced tax loopholes or complicated estate planning. Nope, it focuses only on the must-know necessities that are going to have the biggest impact on your financial life right now. And this is what I think is so great about the author's whole vibe. Eric Tyson is known as a frantic, free financial counselor. So unlike some of those intense personalities you see on TV, he's not here to scream at you for buying a coffee. He just gives you practical, common-sense advice without making you feel intimidated or putting you to sleep with dry academic theory. The book's entire game plan for getting a handle on your money is built on just 4 simple core principles. That's it. This is where all that complexity we were talking about just melts away. First up, the net worth reality check. And look, this part is non-negotiable. You wouldn't plan a road trip without knowing where you're starting from, right? Same thing with money. You just add up your assets, that's the stuff you own, and subtract your liabilities, the stuff you owe. That final number, whether it's positive or negative, isn't a grade. It's just your starting point. It's your "you are here" map marker. Next, the book gets into debt, and it has a really clear strategy. First, you target what it calls bad debt. We're talking high-interest stuff like credit cards. Then, and this is a total game changer for your mindset, you start to see paying it off as a guaranteed investment. Seriously, think about it. Getting rid of a credit card with a 20% interest rate is the same as earning a guaranteed 20% return on your money. You literally can't find a better deal than that. The third principle is not about creating some painful, restrictive budget that makes you miserable. It's about what the book calls spending awareness. The whole goal is to just see where your money is actually going so you can spot the leakage. You know what I mean? Those little expenses, the subscriptions you forgot you had, the daily purchases that seem small but just slowly drain your bank account over time. And finally, we get to the big one, investing. This book just strips away all the scary jargon around stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. The advice is so simple and so powerful. Just stick to low-cost, diversified options. It really champions things like index funds, which are an amazing and super straightforward way for pretty much anyone to get started building wealth. Okay, so after hearing all that, is this the right guide for you? Because hey, not every book is for every person. So let's get real and break down who's going to get the absolute most out of this approach. This book is pretty much tailor-made for a few key groups of people. See if you fit into one of these. We've got financial novices who are truly starting from square one. Recent grads who want to build good habits from the get-go. Anyone who feels buried in debt and just needs a clear plan to get out. And of course, busy professionals who just want the bottom line without all the fluff. If you just nodded your head to any of those, this is probably a fantastic fit. But of course, no book is perfect. Let's look at the pros and cons. On the plus side, it's super accessible, it's all about taking action, and the advice is unbiased. It's really looking out for you. But on the downside, it is basic. If you're already an experienced investor, this is going to feel way too simple. And it's also very US-centric, so if you're watching from another country, you'll have to adapt some of the advice. So, when we boil it all down, what's the final verdict here? What's the one big thing you should really take away from all this? I think this quote just says it all perfectly. This is not a get-rich-quick manual. It's not promising you a shortcut to becoming a millionaire. What it is promising is something way more valuable and, frankly, more achievable. It's a guide to getting stable, slowly and steadily. It's about building a solid foundation that's going to support you for the rest of your life. And that really just leaves us with one final and most important question. Now that you've heard this whole breakdown, what's your first step toward financial clarity going to be? Maybe it's finally calculating your net worth, or maybe it's just tracking your spending for 1 week. Whatever it is, the whole journey just starts with one small, simple action.